The average person spends hours a week at the grocery store, but you're not an average person, are you? There's a better way to get fresh groceries, and it's called Fresh Direct. Shop for just picked fruit and vegetables, custom cut meat and seafood, freshly made meals and meal kits, all your favorite brands, plus hundreds of weekly deals. Order Fresh Direct anytime, anywhere, and get the freshest groceries delivered to your door. Use code PLAYLIST to get $25 off your first order of $99 or more. Visit freshdirect.com or download the app today.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday night broadcast of Real Talk All the Time, 100% real, unpolished, unrehearsed, unapologetic with your host, myself, H.J. Morgan. I'm in the building tonight. Sine might be joining us a little bit later in the broadcast. She had a emergency situation. She is okay, but she might be running a little bit late if she comes on at all, and that's totally understandable. Our brother Rob Hall will not be with us tonight, so that just leaves me. And you guys know how I like to do when it's just me on. I like to cut up a little bit. So that being said, I just want to put out some things here. First of all, of course, tonight's main topic is black economics with, I want to call him a friend to the show. Brother is a wonderful brother. He's doing some wonderful things. Yarima Karama. We'll be talking about black economics. We'll be talking about weaponizing your money. And we're going to get into that, what all that means here closer to the top of the hour. So definitely stick around for that. Yarima Karama will be joining us talking about black economics. And he's been on the show before. We had a wonderful time, and we had to have him come back again. So as always, it seems there's never a lack of interesting stories in the news. Over the past week, of course, we had several more racial attacks. Not by police, but by regular citizens. And as we've always said on this show, that we knew this would be coming. So now you have suspected white supremacists and outright white supremacists basically deputizing themselves to basically just run up on unsuspecting black people, men, women, children, and just, savagely assault them. Some of these assaults were resulting in death. So I'll be talking about a couple of those stories here shortly. But I do want to talk about this one story that kind of came out of left field, kind of like a peculiar. And it's about our boy, Tiger Woods. Now, Tiger Woods was, as many of you know by now, was arrested just the other day on a DUI. Now, when the story first came out, I'm quite sure everybody assumed it was drunk driving or something to that effect. But DUI is not DWI, and it is actually driving under the influence. That could be anything. And Tiger Woods has come out and made a statement recently saying that he actually was under some prescription medication. He had just had a back surgery, and he had the reaction to a prescription medication. So here I get this story from CNN. It says Tiger Woods was in a 2015 Mercedes-Benz and showed signs of fresh damage on the driver's side of the vehicle when he was found asleep at the wheel the morning of his arrest on suspicion of driving under the influence, police records show. New documents released late Tuesday afternoon by Jupiter, Florida. Police reveal that both tire rims on the driver's side of the Mercedes had minor damage, and the front and rear tires on that side of the vehicle were flat. So he, apparently passed out, lost consciousness under the influence of some prescription medication that he had for his back surgery. So I just want to go ahead and put out, I had made a comment on my personal Facebook page about the Tiger Woods incident. And I jokingly put out, because I know many times in the past, Tiger Woods has basically said he's everything but black, and he's of mixed ancestry. But as many have done who are of mixed ancestry, Tiger Woods decides to shy away from his African heritage and embrace that of the other, whatever that other may be. And so I think he called himself once upon a time Kablasian or something like that. So it was just interesting because I see a lot of people posting pictures of his mugshot, and I guess under the mugshot, the police clearly marked him as black. So I guess they weren't buying the whole Kablasian thing, and it's kind of like a sad joke in a way. It's comical, but it's also very, very heartbreaking and sad, because many of us in the African American community often say, well, I'm half this and I'm half that, and I'm mixed with this, and I'm 1% Martian or whatever else we figure we're mixed with. But when it comes to being black, we some of us do shy away from that. But the thing of it is, when your ass gets in trouble, okay, and the so-called authorities physically can look at you and say, yeah, well, this person is definitely non-white, you get treated a certain kind of way. Okay, so and they're gonna mark you down as a black male. Usually it's a black male, and they're gonna handle you a certain kind of way, and it's not with kid gloves. So this is just once again another wake up call that a lot of our brothers have got to understand that this is a game of chess, not checkers. And so a lot of people out there right now, all over social media, are dragging Tiger Woods. Just dragging this boy all through the mud. And I can understand where they're coming from. Many friends of mine and associates and people that I follow and follow me on Facebook are calling them all types of coons and stuff like that. And I get it. I, on this particular hand, am going to fall back. I am not going to the guy while he's down for simply this one, or maybe a couple of reasons. One, I feel that at this point in time, there's other things for me to focus on. And one of those main things is combating white supremacy. Now, I made a comment on my Facebook page the other day, and I said that Tiger Woods' mugshot will be in every single tabloid, every single newspaper, every single social media feed for the next several weeks. Meanwhile, the animals, the rotten bastards that murdered this young Army lieutenant the other day in Maryland, their mugshot you're going to have to dig for. The beast that slashed these two people's throat on the Portland subway train, you'll see his mugshot maybe 1, maybe 2 days, and you won't see it anymore. And this bastard murdered two people. And I'm going to get into that story here shortly as well. There's another man who just recently attacked a black man with a machete. I'm going to get into that story as well very shortly. You'll see his mugshot maybe a day or so. The neo-Nazi that changed to Islam and decided to kill his neo-Nazi friends because they disrespected his religion, you won't see his mugshot for a day or two in the news. But you're going to see Tiger Woods for the next several weeks. And he's going to be the butt of every joke from both black, white, and otherwise. And so I'm not going to go in on Tiger tonight. I'm going to leave that alone because, like I said, I have bigger fish to fry. So I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there, and basically, you know, I just wanted to share that thought. You know, pardon me 1 second here. I'm working the boards here by myself tonight. I think I have a visitor here on the line with me. Just want to make sure it's them. Okay. All right. Yeah. Pardon me. So, yeah, it's just very interesting. Like I said, how these stories play out, and like I said, if it's somebody who's black who does something, you know, minor or major, they'll be in the news forever. And it's fortunate that, you know, Tiger Woods didn't hurt himself or run somebody over or kill somebody, because that would have been it for him. But I'm not going to dog the guy out. I'm not going to dog him out at all. You know, so I'm going to leave that story alone and actually move on to some other things. One thing briefly, also, I do want to point out, just switching up the pace a little bit, is that apparently Donald Trump's attorney has refused to speak to Congress. So Donald Trump's attorney has refused to speak to Congress. Flynn, former General Flynn, is turning over documents for this investigation. So we have some things that are taking place here with this whole Russia United States relationship here. And, you know, watch this one closely. But one thing I want to put out, and I see Cassandra bring in here. Cassandra, you're live, my dear.
Hey there.
Hey, how you doing, sister?
Good.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Cassandra jumps in here with us from time to time, so she's going to hold it down with me here for a little bit, and I appreciate you calling in, Cassandra. So I was just saying that things seem to be getting more and more interesting with this whole Russia investigation and the relation that Russia had to certain political parties. Here's something that I found to be very, very interesting, is that apparently Donald Trump's son-in-law has some serious dealings with Russia on the side, and he was meeting with, you know, Russian dignitaries and Russian bankers at the Russian embassy and things like that. So, you know, these are things that were hidden before that are coming out now. And I know a lot of people out there say, well, what's the significance in this? Well, I don't know on the grand scheme of things what the significance is. I'll be honest with you. But here's something that I find very interesting about Russia and the United States. I reported on a story last week about a Russian neo-Nazi in Mexico who got the brakes beat off of him because he decided that he was going to be in Mexico and talk shit about Mexicans. And he made some videos and a lot of demeaning and disparaging remarks about Mexicans, threatened little Mexican children and Mexican girls and boys, and this was just running amok. And finally, the town that he was living in had enough, and they rushed his house and they beat the brakes off of him, almost beat the man to death. Now, I'm bringing that up because a few weeks ago, we also had on the show a discussion about the rally in Virginia. I think it was Charlottesville, that they had this rally in Virginia around these Confederate monuments. Mm-hmm. And Richard Spencer was there. And Sinead had reported, our fellow host, reported that they were chanting and shouting different things. But one of the things that I caught on to later on, and I did some research, and I listened to some other shows that actually mentioned it too, is that these alt-right cats were hollering out that Russia is our friend. So when I first heard that, I didn't think anything. But then I began to listen to some other people's podcasts and broadcasts, and I found out and did some due diligence on my own. And apparently Russia is a huge haven for alt-right neo-Nazis.
Yep.
Go figure. So, when you start to put the pieces together and you hear about this guy in Mexico and, you have Americans here at this Confederate monument with these torches lit hollering that Russia is our friend, you want to know, well, wow, check this out. So is there a bridge between American Nazis and the Nazis in Russia? Apparently, there has to be a bridge because they admitted to it on the frickin' during this rally that they had. Russia is our friend. So interesting. So I just wanted to shed a little light on that. Before I continue on, though, because I do have you here, Cassandra, I wanted to just know if you had any thoughts or anything that I spoke about thus far before I continue on to a couple other preliminary things before we get into the main topic here at the top of the hour.
Well, it's funny because I find that very interesting what you're just talking about the Russians and the neo-Nazism. And it's funny that this is all coming to light now, because it's people did we as Trump was becoming president and all of this was coming out before, and it was squandered and squashed. How it was squashed, and then now, with him being in office for the last couple of months, this is all a phenomenon to some folks, So
right.
I just feel like it's all gonna come to a head, and
right.
He can continue to hide his dealings and his misfortunes and the things that or his fortunate fortunes, right? He can keep hiding them. They're gonna eventually come forward, and we as Americans are gonna suffer greatly because of these decisions.
Right, and at some point now that more and more stuff is starting to come out, I mean, you have the financial dealings and you have the ideology dealings, and there's a lot. This ideology is very important. A lot of people undermine or dismiss ideology. But when you have an ideology that is spreading across the globe, such as neo-Nazism or alt-right, whatever they want to call it, you have a very dangerous ideology that's shared between Russia and those here in the United States. So I just wanted to point that out. Aside from possibly endangering the United States as if anything secret or top secret was shared, this could set a dangerous precedence for a lot of other things. And, of course, we're seeing things happening here in this country that are creating a dangerous precedence. And I'm going to go ahead and get into that right now, actually. Just want to go ahead and share a couple of quick stories. This is from Melanoid Nation. Clear Lake, California, a white supremacist terrorist is in custody on numerous charges for stabbing a random black man with a machete Saturday night. Anthony Robert Hammond, 34, is being held in the Lake County Jail on $1 million bail for felony charges of aggravated mayhem, battery with serious bodily injury, assault with a deadly weapon, felony resisting executive officer, hate crime, and 2 outside felony arrest warrants, and 2 misdemeanor charges of battery on a person and obstructing or resisting a peace officer. It goes on just real quick here. According to police, Hammond began yelling racial slurs at numerous black people located in the parking lot at a Clear Lake apartment complex. So here again, we have outright white supremacists running amok, trying to harm people. And I said this last week. I don't know if you listened or caught up to it, Cassandra, but I mentioned that, when this brother was stabbed in Maryland and he was with an Asian and a white friend and they didn't beat the brakes off this guy, that just pissed me off right there. What type of friends are these? And so basically, I'm going to continue to say this. Black people, we're in this by ourselves. We are alone when dealing with these animals. So my thing is this, and you can take it for what it's worth. If you're in a situation where one of these cats walks up by himself and is saying off the wall crazy shit, take two things into consideration. Okay? One, he's trying to provoke you. Two, this guy, if he's by himself and he's that bold, because we know we're dealing with cowards here, he's possibly armed. Don't get into as my father used to say, a back and forth selling wolf tickets. Close the distance if possible and take this guy up out of here. Okay? And when at the end of the day, you feared for your life. Because what's happening now is we're having this random attacks on innocent black people now. Okay? We're having random attacks. So the first thing is they have to, start a verbal confrontation because they're trying to get their courage up to do something anyway. Okay? So as soon as you start hearing, oh, what are you niggas doing? Or anything like that, close the distance and deal with the situation immediately. Or don't and walk away. It's up to you. But at the same time, understand that you're being targeted now in a way where this is almost unprecedented in modern times. Okay? We're being targeted. So when they start selling these wolf tickets, either close the distance and deal with it immediately or move away as quickly as you can. Okay? But don't let yourself be harmed by these race soldiers out here. All right? We're living in dangerous times, so I can't stress that enough. Okay? Do not let yourself be harmed by these race soldiers out here. Go ahead, Cassandra.
It's so funny because, people don't realize that how dangerous it really is. I mean,
right.
People are just literally, you could turn a corner and someone could be following you down the street. I mean,
right.
It happened to me. Now I don't know what his intention was, but what? I was like, yo, this don't feel right. If it don't feel right, then it really isn't right. And
exactly.
Just gotta be careful.
Right.
I think everything, just like how, and I know this is totally off topic, but just like homosexuality is out there and rampant, and it's like in your face, it's the same premise.
Right.
It's just like it's right out there in your face. People are not afraid to be racist anymore. They're not afraid to hide it.
Right.
They're just in your face. Like, so what are you gonna do about it?
Right. And the thing, yeah. And the thing of it is, Cassandra, is the outcome of these race crimes is in your face too, because nobody's going to jail, nobody's being punished, and nobody's going to jail. So the outcome of these attacks are in your face too. And I said this on my personal Facebook page. I may have said it on the show, but they are trying to desensitize you and make you numb to these attacks, so that when they finally go ahead and do the mass attack, which I think was very well possible, it's not going to be a shock. You understand? Mm. These little incidents here and there, and then they have this, as others have said, this catch and release program when it comes to white perpetrators. Oh, we're going to do a show trial, okay, and we're going to let you go. Let's just go through the motions, and at the end of the day, you're found not guilty. Now they'll put a couple of, excuse my language, they'll put a couple of house niggas on your jury, just to make it look good. But at the end of the day, you're not going to jail. You'll be set free, and if you're a police officer, you'll get back pay, and you'll be a hero. You might get a promotion and things like that. But this is what's happening, and this is real. So you have to protect yourself. If somebody, I'm telling you right now, this is for me personally, if you approach me at 3 o'clock in the morning talking about, do you have the time, I might knock your head the fuck off, because I fear for my life. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I mean that's just it. Another story here. Of course, everybody knows this one. I'm sorry. This happened Friday in Portland. A Jeremy Joseph, a Christian, with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. He began to berate some females on a train, making anti-Muslim comments. Now, here's the thing. When I looked at these 2 women, I was expecting to see Middle Eastern women when I first saw this story. These were 2 sisters. These were 2 regular sisters. One of them happened to be Muslim. So here's again, I know you've heard me say this on the show, the verbiage, okay, and the code language. So now, folks, the word thug means black people. You know that one. And now I have to say this, the word Muslim might be another code word for black people. So now I can say you're a Muslim, attack you, okay, and get away with that too now. You understand what I'm saying? It's getting stupid now. These women were clearly, you could tell they were black, all right? Some form of Afro ancestry, okay? But he came up with the whole Muslim thing so that he could justify down the line his attack on these girls. You understand? But some good Samaritans stepped in and tried to intervene. Story of two black women who same type of deal. Again, you got to look at the verbiage, folks. The language these bastards are using. A drunken white man accosted right after that Manchester bombing, accosted two black women, and they had no Muslim garb on, calling them Muslims and was threatening them. And once again, thankfully, a good Samaritan stepped in and beat the brakes off this particular guy. So again, we're dealing with a beast that will use any and everything to try to harm you. So now look out for this other code word, Muslim. Muslim now is code for black. You understand? Just like the word thug. Okay, this is another dog whistle word to categorize every damn body. Just like when they start talking about, well, what about Chicago? Chicago means all black America. That's code for every nigga in America. Chicago. Anytime you bring up, I was in a Twitter beef, if you will, or a Twitter twit or a spat with somebody a few hours ago, and we were talking about these very attacks that I'm talking about right now. He said, "Well, what about the Chicago?" And for these people, Chicago means every black person in America. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So to try to deflect from what's happening, oh, what about Chicago? What about Chicago, motherfucker? What about it? What the fuck about Chicago? You got to shut these people down with this bullshit. But as soon as you start talking about law enforcement or random people walking up to you and killing you, they always try to throw this black on. Well, what about black on black crime? You understand? And you got to understand how to deal with this. Well, when black people commit crimes, they go to jail. Mm-hmm. They go to jail. They go to jail for a long damn time. When white people commit crimes, it's a catch and release. It's catch and release. So what the fuck about Chicago? So that's my answer to that. You got anything here? We got a couple of minutes here before we get to the top of the hour. You got anything to add on any of these attacks and what to possibly do to protect yourself?
Well, I know one thing. I don't know if you saw the story at CNN today about Tamar Rice's the police officer who, So after 2 years of investigation, that's crazy. He quoted that he came to what they consider a fair conclusion, looking at his application. That's some bull.
Fair conclusion. Oh my God!
That's what he said. I quote: after 2 years of an investigation by our agency, the county prosecutor's office, and the sheriff's department, I think we've come to what we consider a fair conclusion to this process. Crazy.
Wow. Yeah, a fair conclusion. Imagine that. I tell you, I don't get it. Actually, I do get it. Me stop playing stupid on air. I do get it. I 100% get it. It's a bunch of bullshit. And the fact that we remain docile the way we are it's just hard to take. This is hard to take that we're so docile about it. You understand? We're so placid about this whole shit that's going on. And we're posting twerk videos still, and this is not business as usual, folks. This is not business as usual. People are being picked off left, right, and center. Y'all motherfuckers are still twerking. It's amazing. At some point, it's okay. You're gonna be willfully annihilated. I guess I don't know. This is ridiculous. We're not taking this shit seriously. You know, but part of
we're not taking it seriously like our ancestors took it seriously.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
They had a purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to get into some ways to deal with white supremacy here very shortly, and it's using our money. We're going to be talking about how to get financially literate, how to erase debt, how to weaponize our money, and we're going to talk about my brother here, Yarima Karama, and we'll be back in 50 seconds with the main topic. Again, folks, tonight, calling is 657-383-0612. It's 657-383-0612. Press 1 to talk to us, pose your questions, comments, concerns, and the chat is also open. We'll be right back, guys.
Real Talk Radio. Real Talk on Talk.
100% real. We had over 1,000 listeners. All right, we are back. Top of the hour, Black Economics. Let me bring my man in here. Brother Yarima Karama, you are live, sir. Are you there?
Peace, family. I'm here. How are you?
Peace, brother. I am well, man. I'm well, brother. It's good to have you back with us, man. I'm very excited about tonight. I wanted to do something a little different because, you know, with what we're dealing with right now, it's easy to become frustrated and angry. And for the last few broadcasts, because it seems like every week there's a new case of some type of act of violence against us, it's hard not to get on the mic and get on the show and rant and rave for 2 hours. I didn't want to do that tonight, so I wanted to have some type of positive, constructive ways that our people can deal with white supremacy, and and part of that is I saw you speak about this the other day, man, and this hit me, and I was like, you know what, that's right, weaponizing our money, brother, and I wanted to get into that with you tonight, and ways we can deal with white supremacy by just managing our money better and taking away from the machine that actually that feeds white supremacy. So I'm going to give the floor to you, sir. You were with us before. We had a wonderful time. You're back again. So for those that don't know who you are, just give us a brief bio, and let's go ahead and get into this Black economics, man.
Okay. And again, Habib, I thank you and the Queen for having me on. You guys got a spectacular show, and we need more of this. And we need it every day as reinforcement. Right. We need this type of show, this type of venue. But my name is Yarima Karama. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm a hip hop artist, but more importantly, I'm an activist. I'm a writer, and I'm out here on the front lines trying to fight the good fight against white supremacy, but more importantly for Black salvation, our people's salvation. I did quite a long stint in prison, federal prison, for a crime I didn't commit, as many have sat in those Desmo Crips for crimes that they didn't commit. And I met some good brothers, set the mission, my plan in motion, what I was going to do when I got out, and now I'm here, I'm doing it. I was listening to you go through kind of what I would consider like the news for the week, and my thing is, and I've been saying this when the first murder, well, not they weren't the first murders, but I think they were the murders where people really just started getting like scared and upset. And that was Alton Sterling was first, and then Philando Castile immediately followed that.
That's
and
right.
People started inboxing me like Yarima, what can we do? And I was just like, at this point, I mean, there's things that we can do. There's things that I can't say. But the things that I can say, because there's overt action and then there's covert action. The things that I can say is, why would you continue spending your money with the same people that hate you?
That's
and
right.
So, and I push that message, and I think, matter of fact, I think a friend of mine just one of the members of my team just went and got some T-shirts made called "I'm not spending one dime," and that's been my motto. I'm not spending a dime, except on needs and that which is necessary. And I think that you're talking about, and I come to that by this, brother, is the fact that you're talking about a country that's it's more than $21 trillion in debt. It's some have estimated that it could be potentially even be double that. But we bring so much to the table, and sometimes I think that we have tried to amalgamate and entrench ourselves in this society. We've tried to show patriotism on a level that is even more patriotic than the dominant society, which is white America.
Exactly.
So we've tried to go above and beyond that. But I think that we don't realize our worth and what we bring to this economy. So if you shut that down, it's just like it's the same thing. It's the same thing like if they say if everybody, or even just 50% of the people in county jails said they were taking their cases to trial, it would bust the system. Just 50%. It doesn't even have to be everybody, just 50. They bank on the fact that 98.3% of the people are going to plead guilty. Just going to take a plea and take some prison time. But if 50% of those said, no, I'm going to trial, it would bust the system, and it's the same thing. If we start extracting our money out of this system, and it's a discipline involved in that. If you just start extracting your money and only, when we start talking about needs, just taking care of the bare needs, we've become comfortable in this country. But the problem with our comfortability is the fact that people are dying, and there's no connection between us and those people until it hits close to home, until, my son got it, or, my cousin got it, or, this family member got it. And then it starts to become real. But until we have a discipline and say, you know what, you don't deserve my money. And they really don't. When you really look at it, why would you give money to the same people who are on Twitter feeds, on Facebook feeds, saying, "Well, he deserved to die because he was sagging."
That's right.
I can't count all the news clips I've done where you've had I'm talking about major execs, people that play a major role in a company who have been caught on Facebook or a Twitter feed making some snide racist comment. Some of them get fired, some of them don't. But it's just the fact that if you have that, what about the people that aren't saying anything but think it?
Right.
And so, my thing is pull your money. Because
that's right.
Because if you're going to sit back and be passive, and I think that another thing we don't talk about enough, even when we talk about the atrocity of the greatest genocide on earth, which was our ancestors' enslavement, being prisoners of war in this corrupt system. I think what we tend to overlook in our speech a lot is the insurrections, the black men and women who did fight back, and I'm talking about outside of the Harriet Tubmans, the famous stories. I think those stories need to resonate a little bit more as opposed to because we did, and even during times of Jim Crow, you had those black brothers who took up arms and were willing to say, hey, you're not going to be over here lynching, you're not going to be doing that, and we don't talk about that history, and that needs to be revealed a little bit more. And so, those two things combined, pulling our resources. Because when you really look at it, white supremacy, what it does is it goes around the world and it basically steals and extracts resources by any means necessary.
That's
right. So everywhere they've touched base, that's what they do. They take and steal resources. You are either going to give it to them by friendly means, by a smile and a handshake, and they're going to beat you on the deal, or they're just going to take it militarily. And so
absolutely.
I think that we have to start saying to ourselves, you know what, you're killing us. Our guns might not be big enough at this point to go to war, but we can take out so much money out of your economy that we make sure you suffer in the process. And,
that's right.
And when we talk about, even when Dr. King and then Farrakhan reiterated the statement of make them feel the pain, that's how you make them feel it.
That's right.
You extract that money, take that money out of the economy, and things start to drop. I mean, you can see it now, and they don't talk about it. Corporate-run media is not talking about it that much, but Macy's are shutting down. Sears are shutting down. H.H. Gregg is shutting down. These large outlets that people, they're slowly shutting down, and they're trying to keep it quiet, keep it under wraps. But these places are closing.
That's right.
And so now, just think if we take our dollars out of that. Think what happens when black people take their dollars out of Nike. We're no longer setting up pup tents outside of Nike to buy the latest Jordans. That's right.
Oh my goodness.
What happens if we take our dollars out of Walmart, the biggest corporation, or one of them in the top 3, no doubt, right now in the U.S.? What happens if you just went into Walmart just to buy food and necessities?
Right.
What if you just and nothing else? All the luxuries, going to the movie theaters and going out to these places, these restaurants to eat where they're serving you garbage food anyway. You need to be at home cooking anyway and staying out of that, leaving that garbage alone. So what happens if we take that out of the equation? America starts to fall. Now what you have to do is you have to negotiate. And when you negotiate, you can set out some demands, man. And, We unfortunately, you said it right. We still got people who want to show twerk videos and women bouncing around on poles and all this debauchery and stupidity, and these brothers chasing white women. They think that's and so we can't see the forest for the trees, and so we play a major role in our own demise, and it's unfortunate.
Yes. A willful participant. It's funny how you say, and I said it before, about the twerking and stuff like that. It's funny because I used to actually moonlight. I used to bounce in certain strip clubs as a side gig, and it got to the point where it just didn't faze me anymore. You understand what I'm saying? You just see it so much, it just, I've seen it, so it has no effect. So when you see this stuff, it's like, really, like, okay, all right, you know what I'm saying? And in these twerk videos or actually not real videos. These are real people on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just going through their thing. It's always the same move. I mean, at least be creative. If you're going to go there, be creative. It's the same shit over and over again.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. So, I mean, but, it's redundant, but, I'm being a little silly with it right now, but it's real. But here's the thing. And I just want to throw this out there because I have said that, yes, let's take our money out of, let's say Walmart, let's say Target and stuff like that. And so somebody said, okay, well, we can't do that unless we have a viable alternative. Now, as you were just talking, I thought about what this person said to me, and something hit me. Let's think about this. And this is something maybe on a small scale, but it's still something. How many sisters do we know out there that can cook their ass off, right? And you figure on Sundays or Saturdays they get down and they make meals for the whole damn neighborhood, right? Well, how about you get these sisters together, all right, and you spend your money with them? and you get your meal. If you feel that you have a need to go out to a restaurant, you go to Sister So and So that can throw down on some mac and cheese and some fried chicken and stuff like. And you go to her spot and you say, "Listen, sister, I tell you what, I'd like a home cooked meal, but I don't want to go to Longhorn Steakhouse or Outback or whatever it is. I'd rather spend my money with you." And you put the people that can give you better food or a better whatever it is. You put the money in their hands, and you can build business and wealth within your community that way. And it's something so simple. You understand? It's something so simple, which we could do that. We don't have to go to these restaurant chains if we don't want to, because there's people in our neighborhood that can get down better than any of them on a bad day. So that's just one thing that we could do. Now, it's earlier today. It's funny. I was listening to you, and I forgot which video it was, but you were talking about how you were in the mall, but you wasn't buying a damn thing. And
right.
I cracked up because for a long time in the neighborhood I live in, every morning to actually get to the train station, I had to walk through a mall. In order to get, you couldn't go around it. You had to walk through it in order to get to the train station.
Right.
So I am of the same mind as you. I have long since going to malls and buying and spending all my damn money. So you have to understand the mental strength it took, because I used to be that cat that was name brand everything, bro. Name brand everything from my feet up. You understand? I was that guy that used to go to the laundromat fly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was that dude.
Right.
You understand? So the mental fortitude it took to walk through this mall, not only to work, but back from work at the end of the day and not pick up anything. That took a lot of strength. Yeah. But I've done it, and I continue to do it because I realize I can no longer say the stuff I say on this show or say the shit that I say on Facebook, but continue to feed the machine, this beast, this matrix that is basically killing me slowly. I just can't do it no more. You understand? At some point, you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, what is it I can do? What can I do? And it sounds corny, and it's one of those basic anecdotes, but it does start with you, the individual. So no, like you said, I go to malls every day and don't buy a goddamn thing. You understand what I'm saying? I just don't. In fact, the desire to do so is even dwindled. It's gone. You understand? Yeah. And we can do this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. When people, I used to buy it. Well, if we can't, you got to have a viable. And I've heard it time and time again. Well, you got to have a viable alternative with Yarima. And you know what? Honestly, I'm starting that has become a lame excuse to me. That to me, quite honestly, is the same as the ones who talk about white on white or black on black crime.
Oh yeah.
That to me is no different. It's the same excuse. Oh, we got to have a Bible, which basically that when a person says that to me, that says, okay, you have opened the door for the excuse for you to continue to spend your money with these people. That's all that's saying to me.
That's right.
Because the fact of the matter is that we've had plenty of opportunities to build. First of all, the poor communities are all being run, as far as our stores, grocery store, all being run by Arabs and Indians. They treat you like dirt, and you continue to shop there. You've had ample opportunity to build stores. You've had ample opportunity to support, and there's this thing that says, it's called sacrifice.
Yeah.
And people are not willing to sacrifice. I was studying recently, just going back over it, and I've gone over it a few times, but I was studying World War II. And one of the things I found interesting is the tenacity of the Russian people when they were being attacked by Germany, because it was literally going to be a slaughter. And the people, Stalin had told them, okay, we're outnumbered, we're outgunned, but you better not retreat. You better not
That's
retreat.
Right.
We don't run.
That's right.
And you better not go to the other side. You don't run.
That's right.
You better not go to the other side. You die fighting. And it was funny because not even funny. I don't even want to use that word. But the fact of the matter is that men, women, and children got on board with that to the point where they started mass producing weapons. They got together, and it just showed that when a group of people, when people come together for the cause, when they come together, the possibilities, what can be, and Germany was running up in them, and then all of a sudden things changed, and Germany started to retreat, and now Russia was chasing them up out of Russia, and the whole dynamics of the war changed, and so, but they understood that sacrifices have to be made, and now imagine them just bowing down and throwing up the white flag. Germany would be running there. Germany would have taken over Russia. They would have treated them like animals, like we get treated here in the U.S. They would have treated them like animals because they would have said you have no integrity, no tenacity. You're not willing to fight, and that's what you do. That's what happens to people that are not willing to fight and stand for anything. There's slavery still going on right now to this day, by the Arabs over in Africa.
That's right.
They're still enslaving Africans right now as we speak. So I don't understand. To me, it's mind-boggling. It makes absolutely no sense to me why you would spend your money in Arab shops here in the U.S. Your brothers and sisters overseas are literally enslaved. Literally, they are still castrating black men over there so that they can sleep with the women. Literally. That's right. And so it's a very easy decision for me. I buy gas because I'm a business owner because I'm unemployable. I can't be on anybody's plantation because of the work that I do. They go right to any of my links and they're like, oh no, you're out of here. So I'm a business owner. I buy gas because I have to get back and forth. I buy food because I have to eat. I pay rent, and that's because I have to in order to stay. And outside of cosmetic and all my toiletries and stuff like that, I try to do everything I can to get black owned. That's right. Because if I just have to spend, if it has to be a luxury, the first place I'm looking is black owned luxury. If I just have to put any money out there, and then even when I spend with black owned, I have to make sure I try to do as much research as I can to see where they're spending their money at. Because it makes no sense for me to give it to you and then you go give it back to the same corporation that I'm trying to keep it from.
Check that out.
But that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do because you got some people that will come into the hood, make money off of the hood, and they take the money out of the hood, take it back to the suburbs with them. They wearing Nikes, all the latest gear, and going all to the mall and giving the money right back. And that money never comes back to the community. And you have to do that kind of research. Okay, if you're black owned, who are you giving your dollars to? Where are your dollars going to? Are they circulating in our community any longer? This is the check. It's checks and balances. I say all the time, we're in a war, man, and there are certain things in a war that you have to adhere to. And our problem is, our problem is that unlike everybody else, we just don't have a code. And we've got the people.
Brother, I'm glad you said
everything that we need. Yes.
That's right. I just want to jump in there, brother, real quick. I was listening to Tariq the other day, and he said one of the first things, and I'm quite sure that you'll agree with this, one of the first things we need to do is we need to get on code, and we're not. We're not on code, man. We got to get and stay on code for starters. I mean, good God Almighty. You understand what I'm saying? We just so off code. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So that's one of the first things we need to do is get on code. I want to share something. I want your thoughts on it. A couple of things I want to share with you real quick. I was talking to somebody, and because I was actually watching Dr. Boyce Watkins a little bit earlier before I came on, and it was a broadcast. He said it was how to stop living from paycheck to paycheck, and he had a young brother on there, and it was just such a wonderful broadcast that I was watching. But one of the things that the brother said, the young brother on there said, is that driving a Mercedes does not define your wealth. Okay, buying a Gucci bag does not define your wealth. Okay, how does a pair of Jordans equate wealth to you? Okay, it doesn't define your wealth, but it does define your mindset. Okay, and honestly, most black people do not know what wealth is. Now, here's something that I wrote down that Neely Fuller said. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm quite sure you're going to agree with this. He said that we spend our money so that we can make other black people look at us and say, oh, wow, look at him. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, this is what we do. I've done it. I mean, you know, we're in a prison system. And basically, we spend our money so that other prisoners can look at us in awe. Like, really? When you think about that concept, think about that shit. I'm looking fly to other prisoners. You know what I'm saying? And the guy flashing, that was me several years. I can admit this. The guy flashing is like, yeah, look at me, I'm doing it. And I used to say that saying. I'd come out the car wash, bro, and I'd have my fresh construction Timbs on, and I'm rocking my, you know, wherever it was at the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and in my head, as I'm pumping the beats, it's like, yeah, that's right, I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? And you're driving real slow and shit in your own neighborhood so that other people can say, oh, wow, look at him. Because the white people that you drive past don't give a fuck. They don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? So what the brother was saying is wealth is property. If you own some property, you have some businesses, and you have some stocks. Not some Gucci socks. That's stocks, people. Stocks with an F-T. Okay? So I want to know what your thought is on that, bro.
Oh, I mean, I totally agree. Nelly Fuller, he's one of my go-to. He's one of my go-to people when I want to look at videos and get some more in-depth knowledge. But I totally agree. But part of this whole phenomenon of black psychosis is understanding where that came from. Right. You know, and we have to. I'm a root person. Like, where does this stem from? And you know, we always now one thing is that there were so many things that were inbred, and when you talk about 400 years of anything, of a perpetual cycle, right? 300, whether it's 350, we're not going to split hairs here, but 350, 400, of a perpetual cycle of anything, that becomes custom. It becomes tradition. It becomes, this is the way things are. And so when you have a custom of certain blacks living in a house that are dressing better than certain blacks who are working out in a field, and this is what is placed in front of you. This is what you should aspire to be. Right. These blacks who are working in the house that really have no more privileges than you. They're still slaves, but we dress them a little bit better. They're a little bit cleaner. They get to bathe a little bit differently, and the food is a little bit better for them than it is for you. And that same perpetual cycle played over and over. And so now we find ourselves here today, and the problem that we have is that we have never dealt with that as a group of people. And so now what you have is people running around, and you're exactly right, brother. We don't know what wealth is, because anytime a man can go into a strip club and throw hundreds of thousands of dollars up in the air, that just shows the ignorance of us as a people that we don't have any type of value. We don't even know the value of money itself.
No, we really don't.
And so that mixed with everything else, the infighting, that mixed with the subliminal fear in us that has been there. In subliminal fear, I'm talking about the fact that I will kill you if you scuff my Nikes.
That's right.
But
wow.
when this white man shows up on the scenes, I will immediately put my hands in the air, drop my gun, and lay face down on the ground. Because I've been programmed that your life is actually less than his life or other lives. And so you know, and that, again, has been a perpetual cycle over the course of time. Like, white life is more valuable than black life. You know, it's funny, at the new museum, the new black museum, I just had a friend go, and he was telling me that they have a wall there, and they talk about, on the wall, it's the laws that from every state that was taking place, and they start in alphabetical order. And it's so many of them, but he says that the laws in some of the states, they say not only is it the law, but they honor it as the tradition. So lynching black people, that was the tradition. Like, this is what you do. This is just how it is. And so, you know, and so living under a cycle like that for so long, even though we might not have actually lived up under it to that degree, it has been passed down to us through DNA. And so every black man, every black woman in this country, that's why black women are they're so protective of their boy child, to the point where they're being like emasculated right before our very eyes, because they overstand the beast. Black women overstand the beast that we're up against, and so they know the potential that this beast has to just kill young black boys. So they do everything to coddle and cuff them. And because that seed has been planted and it's been sent down through the DNA, just like black men overstand, it's easier for us to battle one another and take one another's life, because even if I kill you for real, bro, I know I'm only going to get like 5 years in prison. I already know I've seen dudes come home, so I know if I kill you, your life means nothing, man. But if I kill this white dude over here, I could potentially be on death row. I mean, come on, man. It's a cold game, man, but it's real.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And it's funny, because I'm glad you said that, and you actually, a switch just went off, man, because sometimes, and I'll admit this, sometimes I'm rough on the sisters because I feel that a lot of times they are emasculating these boys. But the way you just broke it down, hearing a different take on it, actually, it sparks something. I mean, they're subconsciously taking the threat away by doing what they're doing. So if he walks down the street, doesn't make eye contact with anybody, has his shoulders kind of shrugged a little lower than, you know, the other guy walking down the street, trying to make himself almost smaller, this takes away the threat. Yeah. And now, if his voice is a little bit higher, all right, and he has a little bit of a movement in his neck, now he's definitely not a threat. You understand? And this is happening. I thought that this was all happening on a conscious level. Yarima, you just hit me, man, with something that lets me go back and say, you know what, man, this is happening on a subconscious level. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to have to curb some of my venom that I spit, because, honestly, I've been hard on some sisters for this, but this is happening on a subconscious level. And you just kind of, the way you broke it down, let me see that, man. So I just want to give you props for that, man, because sometimes hearing a different take on it kind of clears the air on some things. You know, some things are just done through repetition creates a robotic type effect. And we know that a lot of our people, we are dealing with robots. It's almost like a mindless drone. But this is that programming, right? You program a robot to do certain things, and it looks like he's not even thinking about it. He's just moving around, and doing this, that, and the other, and a drone flies around, and it hovers, it moves left, right, up, down. But it's a programming that lets it do that. So this is what's happening with a lot of our people. So I got to fall back a little bit, man. And I'm kind of glad you said that, because now it lets me say, damn, man, I didn't think of that on that level. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and the psychosis, brother, is deep, and I think I tried. I do a lot of like mentoring and stuff, and I go in homes, man, where it's the woman, she's got children, she's by herself. The daughter is religiously going out to work at Wendy's to make money, and the son, who's the oldest, who's 17, is sitting in front of the TV playing video games, and the mother's cool with that. And I'm just like, and then the son now becomes, you will hear the mother say sometimes, particularly this generation, oh, that's my little man, because that has become her man.
Yeah,
and
wow.
We have to understand where that comes from. See, there's a long history of if people knew to the full extent what they have done to us, what they did to our ancestors, the buck farms, the incestuous affairs that they forced upon mother and son, for purposes of breeding. There's so many, but also the psychological thing, like you better tell that boy, because if you do not deal with that boy, I will deal with him. And she knows how he deals with our boys, so she will do everything that she can to protect that boy, even if it means emasculating him and turning him to the best of her ability into a girl, so that he is docile, passive, and has no fight in him, because she fears for his life. And it's serious, and I teach classes on that, particularly to the women. They give the boys to our men. Give the boys to our men, because what you do is you kill that revolutionary spirit in them, and we can't. That's by design. They want that. You kill that revolutionary spirit in them, then you have no fighters, because in a war they come through and they take the strong out, because they know once they conquer the strong, the rest will just go willingly. And so, and part of our problem is, when we talk about code, we have to understand in code, one of the elements of code is realizing that you're in a war and admitting it. Because once you understand that you're in a war, now you can get into the rhythm of the war. But if you don't even believe that you're in a war, and people around you is getting knocked off, and you don't even believe you're in a war, that within itself is a problem.
Exactly, brother. Cassandra, you've been quiet. You got any questions or statements for Brother Yarima here?
Brother Yarima, I hope I said it right.
Yes.
You hit the nail on the head, and I'm sitting here thinking about all the sisters that I've been kind of mentoring. I just moved from South Carolina, and which is a totally different animal down there. I'm back up here up north, and these sisters are coddling their sons, and the funny thing is you look at it from a different perspective today, but their reality is their reality, and they feel like that's that's the truth, when it's really not. And so they live like that for survival of the fact that they want to make sure that their kids survive. They don't want them out on the street. They don't want them, and so that mother mechanism comes in where you say, I'm going to protect. But in protecting, you're hindering the growth of a, we are made to co-parent a man, a boy, a son, not to be his all in all. Mm-hmm. And I believe that 100. Just like with our daughters, I have a daughter. I never had a son, but I have a daughter, and I feel like she needed her dad just as much as she needed me, or she needed that male figure, it just as much. And so you have to fight hard to get these kind of brothers in your child's life in order for them to be normal, not what society thinks that we should be, but what we know we should be. And so,
exactly.
I think definitely I really was feeling what you were saying, because that definitely hit the nail on the head for me. And good thing there.
Absolutely. Yarima, there's something I wanted to bring up. I was listening to one of your video blogs, and you mentioned, I believe, something to the effect of either being a capitalist or a communalist. And I felt that comment was extremely profound. And for those out there listening that have not heard, I know everybody's heard capitalist, but a lot of people have not heard what a communalist is. I'd like you to expound on both and just the differences of those two terms and what we should be looking to do within those terms.
Well, I was talking under the premise of leadership, and the way the way the American system is set up, and the only time you really, everything is competition. I mean, from sports to jobs to the only thing that where you're going to really get the feel of patriotism, communalism, is when we talk about war, going to other countries to conquer, that sort of thing. But everything, even states are competitive against each other. And so, but the capitalist principle entails is that capitalism is a ladder. If you can think of a ladder, a loose ladder that goes up into the sky, and you have people on that ladder, and some people are throwing people off as they're climbing up. They might even climb on top of their backs and throw them off, because those are the people that are progressing. They're moving up. Some people are staying stagnant. They're not moving anywhere. But the person at the top of that ladder is always the person that everybody is striving to get to. So you can think of the Bill Gates, the Warren Buffetts of the world, but it's competitive. There's nothing about capitalism that says, let's connect, let's be friends, let's work together. That's not the capitalistic principle. It's all about, let me amass as much as I can, let me get as much as I can, and if I have to step over people to do that, I'm going to do that. And for the most part, a large portion of the black population isn't even on the ladder. We don't even make it onto the ladder. Especially when you look at the fact that we actually owned more land in 1860. In 1860, black people owned more land than we do today. We actually have less today than we did in 1860. Pre-emancipation. So
that's a statement right there.
And so when I talk about capitalism versus communalism, my premise for that feed was that and I was specific about black leadership. If black leadership is coming to you under the guise of capitalism, they're coming to you under the guise of getting paid. They're not coming to you under the guise of they care about you. They're coming to you under the guise of you are a cash cow for me to potentially get paid. This is another hustle. Whereas a communalist is exactly that. We're about the community. We're about the building. We're actually about the people. And so they both can't exist in the same realm because capitalism itself says dog eat dog. It's competition. To me, this is the struggle for black salvation. It's not a competition. It's you really have to have love in your heart for the people. For the people, even see a communalist knows that the people are going to shit on him or her, but they still got love for the movement because their overall premise is to get black salvation. A capitalist don't care who shits. They're trying to get money. They're trying to get paid, and so within itself, I have no problem with that. My thing was be honest and say that.
Right.
Don't lead us to believe one way and then you're doing something else. That was the premise of that feed. But breaking down capitalism, that's exactly what it is. It's a ladder that reaches up to the top, and everybody's trying to reach up to be a Zuckerberg, a Buffett, Gates. But recognize it's only we can count the number of people up at the top. We can count them on our hands, the number of people up at the top. That's what capitalism is. Everybody's not going to make it because it's competitive like that.
Right. Okay. I feel you. It's interesting you say that because I was thinking about, because I was reading the true story of Fidel Castro, and in his early years. Oh, I think I just lost Brother Yarima. I'm gonna go ahead and wait for him to come back on. I'm waiting for him to come back on. But he'll be right back. We just lost Brother. Oh, here we. No, hold on. Well, anyway, you know what? I tell you what. While waiting for him to come back on, I'm gonna take a question here. A caller had called in earlier, and I'm gonna go ahead and take you. Oh, hold on a second. Yarima's back. Remember, we got you back, brother.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, family, but I'm back. I didn't hear what you said. You said you were thinking, and then I got cut off.
Yeah, I was thinking, and I see your call. I'm gonna bring you in momentarily after this statement. I got a caller here that had called in earlier, and they were waiting very patiently. But I'm gonna make this statement. It's funny that we talked about capitalists versus communalists. I was reading a story, or actually a book about Fidel Castro, and for those that don't know, Fidel Castro was an attorney. He went to school to become a lawyer. And when he got out of law school, he had every opportunity to work for a high-end law firm in Cuba. But he refused that time upon time to work for cases for people that couldn't afford an attorney. So he worked pro bono cases. He worked cases for the struggling man. So that kind of made me think about that. Fidel could have been, a CEO or some type of law firm in Cuba. We've been hearing about him doing something totally different, but because of his passion for the struggle, he took a completely and totally different path. I just wanted to bring that out there, and I got something else I want to talk about because we were talking about finances and stuff like that. I had a friend of mine who. Every year for their birthday, and birthdays come once a year and all that jazz, but they spend about $1,000 and change to drive around in a high-end car for 8 hours on their birthday. Shit like that. It just boggles my mind. It's like, really, dog? I mean, you could do something else with that money and have fun for several birthdays, but just on that one birthday, you're gonna spend all this money. So that and the funny shit, like I said earlier, you drive around in your own neighborhood with the vehicle. You don't go nowhere else. You driving around in this rented Bentley for 8 hours in your own damn neighborhood. Go figure. I'm gonna bring this caller in real quick.
Yeah. Bring this caller in. That's actually. Go ahead.
Yeah. 9486. You've been waiting very patiently. What's your name? Are you calling from, please? 9486, you're live. Your last four.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to say hello. It had been a little while since I've been on the call. This is Leah, and I've been enjoying myself listening to the show.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
And you all shed a lot of light on some things. I don't know. I guess growing up as a child, I don't know if I say I was clueless or if it was just a norm for us to put our money back into the African American community. I grew up near an African American district, like business district, and that's just how we thrived. A lot of that is gone now, and it's really sad because there was just, oodles and oodles of, clothing stores and, hey, beauty shops, barbecue places, funeral homes. We even had a factory. I know y'all heard of Jerry Curl, right? Jerry Mack.
Yeah.
It was like the first Jerry Curl, So I had an opportunity to have that experience, and and I'm sure you all have heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street and whatnot.
Yes.
So I grew up in that area.
Yeah, I was about to tell them where you're from. But go ahead, sister. Go ahead. Yeah.
And so, as descendants, we tried to, I think, carry that out or whatever, and continue with that. But eventually it dwindled. We still have a few people who thrive, and when I go back home, I try to make sure that I, support them and whatnot. But it's still I feel, how can I put it? I'm very fortunate because I'm able to instill that in my children and my grandchildren. And not to be long-winded, but my daughter put something on Facebook yesterday, and at first I was like, be kind of careful with that, be careful. She was teaching her 3- and 4-year-old how to cut hair and what would look like a CPS complaint. She wanted to show how she could show them, or she wanted to show them how to take a mannequin and properly, give a haircut, but with the clippers, of course, with supervised, of course. And I sent her a text message and I said, be careful, be careful, be careful. But then after I thought about it, I was like, she's teaching them skills really young. Now, my second mind, I'm thinking, okay, look, we're not just going to have a bunch of hairstylists in this family. We need some college graduates and what have you, but yet and still, hey, when you can't go out there in corporate America and get a job, hey, you can still make some money cutting hair. So even though it sounds small fries, it's still big business because we can put that money, use that skill. But anyway, enough of that. I just wanted to kind of expound a little bit on my background and how I'm proud of my children. I also have 3 daughters who are self-employed, all of them in their 20s. And I'm just like,
all right.
Man, I know they didn't get it from me. But anyway, enough of that. And I appreciate. I got an earful today.
Yeah, and we still going. All. I just want to say this, sister. Listen, as Khalid Muhammad would say, you don't want your child on an elevated plantation any damn way. So if they're working for themselves, then that kudos to them. Hats off to them. Because you're on an elevated plantation does not mean you have made it. It means you're just a higher paid for slave. That's all. And sometimes not even a higher paid slave, because you can only go but so far in a corporate elevated plantation any damn way. Yarima, I want to make this statement and get your thoughts on this. Okay. Of course, we all know at this point, and if we don't know, then shame on us, but the dominant society weaponizes everything: entertainment, sports, politics, sex, and yes, money. My personal thoughts are that money and sex are probably the most weaponized things used in the system of white supremacy.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, both sex and money is about power. All right? It's about power to the dominant society. I remember seeing something on one of these shows. I don't know if it was The Blacklist or House of Cards, one of these damn shows, but the guy had said, man, it's never about sex. It's always about the power. But what I wanted to say is this. How do we, or if you can give some thoughts, some ideas possibly on how we can weaponize our money. I mean, we're looking at people, like I said earlier in the set before you came on, going to these make-believe kangaroo trials. We know what the end result's going to be. There's no we're not getting any justice. And at this point, if we think we're going to get justice in this system, then something's wrong with us. Shame on us at this point.
Right.
Shame on our dumb ass. So at this point, what can we do, brother? Let's share some ideas, if we can, about weaponizing our money, because they know how to weaponize every damn thing. And I think we need to find out how to start weaponizing things ourselves. And one of those things is our money. And I want to ask your thoughts on that, sir.
Well, you know, it's funny that and the sister Leah that was on, I appreciate her comment and how she grew up. But you know, brother, I'm sitting here thinking, and I talked earlier about the Arab shops and the lack of ownership in our communities, and what I find disconcerting is that Malcolm had this same speech back in the 60s. There's a very famous speech by Malcolm where he says, and I'm sure you probably heard it, you and the Queen on right now, where he says, you know, you go to the white community, you see white businesses. You go to the Chinese community, you see Chinese businesses. You go to the black community, you see everybody else's business but black business. Now, that brother was saying that back in the 60s. And you see the same thing today. So what that tells me is that we haven't progressed any whatsoever.
No.
And so one of the ways, and when we talk about the reintroduction, first of all, when we talk about Black Wall Street and the reintroduction of Black Wall Street, we have to take lessons from history. And one of the weapons we have to take is the fact that not only did they destroy Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but they displaced the wealth. So the wealth got transferred to white businesses. And see, that's the thing that gets lost that gets lost in the shuffle. We get caught up in the bombs going off and how they would drop a bomb on the city and all the brothers and sisters that got killed. But then after that, we don't look at the fact that wealth, because you're talking about 35 blocks. These people had wealth. That wealth transferred to white businesses and white business owners. So there was never any reparations for that. No reparations for our ancestors being prisoners of war. So one of the things I think when we talk about weaponizing, we have to kind of do like the Asians did, and that's insulate ourselves. And insulating yourself, that means that when we look at a dollar only lasting 6 hours in the black community, we have to raise the bar and say, okay, now it's got to last 12. It's got to last 24.
Right.
Insulating ourselves means that, okay, if you've built a business in our community, it's not going to last very long because we're not going to shop with you.
Right.
Period. Especially with the businesses that are abusing our people. Weaponizing our wealth means that we start to combine resources, communal living. Families have to start. I'm talking about families living together to minimize costs.
Right.
Because
the Mexicans do it.
Some communities, exactly, and they do it very successfully. You got some communities in this country, black communities, where neighbors don't even know one another. They don't even speak, haven't spoken, and have lived in the same community for years. Weaponizing ourselves means that I was talking to a brother the other day that I ran into, and he was like, man, I remember you from a business meeting last year. And I said, yeah, and we're working on this project right now. And the brother was like, yep. He said, I'm getting one of the places. He said, I'm gonna buy that particular townhouse, and then he said, I'm gonna start going around here buying up plots. And so weaponizing our money, because you got liquid assets, then you got tangible things such as land, art, all of these things. Weaponizing ourselves means insulating ourselves, to me, getting land. How can you live in a community for 30, 40 years and you don't own one piece of the community? You haven't bought the house. You haven't bought a plot of land. You haven't bought an empty lot across the street. So, I mean, weaponizing ourselves means buying land, means connecting with one another. Like I said, living together, building black business. We have to start small, but also most importantly, and this is where the historical factor comes in. Weaponizing ourselves means we have to create our own military as well to protect it.
That's right.
Because anything that's not protected can be taken. And so if Black Wall Street didn't teach us anything, it should have taught us that we needed a military in place as well to protect the wealth. And that's right. See, the police, I tell people all the time, the police aren't here to protect and serve our community. No, they are occupying forces in our communities. The police are here to protect and serve the rich and their interests. That's it. And they do that because the rich know that if I don't have my stuff protected, my shit will get taken. And so they have created these police forces, and what they do is and the police forces in this country obviously are born out of the slave patrols, but what they did with the slave patrols is they made them believe that you're a little bit better than the nigger.
Exactly.
You're a little bit better. Now you're not going to have these wealth and riches that I got, but you're better than them, and I need you to protect me. And one day, Bob. One day you can get on my level, I guarantee you. But right now, you got work to do. But you're better than them over there. And Bob fed off into that BS. You know? Yeah. And so, go ahead, brother.
No. What I just wanted to say was, because I listen to a lot of different people on YouTube, and you know what? Sometimes you have to listen to some of their stuff too, just to know what they're thinking. But I came across something very peculiar a year ago. There's a white guy by the name of Mark Passio. Eventually, I'm going to reach out to him and see if I can get him on the show. What raised my antenna on him was the fact that he actually, when the Mike Brown situation jumped off in Ferguson, he went ham on the white community for not standing up for him. I forgot the way he put it, but he actually was going in on behalf of Mike Brown. And this is a white guy. Now, he said some very interesting things about the police force himself that blew my mind. And so if you ever get a chance, Yarima, YouTube Mark Passio and punch in police or punch in Mark Passio and then police or law enforcement. And this guy goes ham on law enforcement. And as to what they really are, holy shit. And I never thought I'd hear something like this coming from a white guy before. But this guy, he went in about what the police really are in this country and actually across the globe. And very much like we're talking about now, they are occupying force for the rich. They don't give a good goddamn about your ass. Please. I've actually had to call the police before myself, and they do a damn thing for me. Please. I got a caller here. I'm gonna bring in. Got a couple of callers. Yeah, man, this is real shit, brother. For real. I know who this is, brother Clay Birch, man. You're live, man.
Yo, what's going on, my peoples? I'm sorry I couldn't get on early. I'm working, but
okay.
To talk about what that brother talked about weaponizing. Now that's all good and well, but I just saw something on Facebook not too long ago about a community that basically they don't have no currency. They operate by no governing laws or no religion, and they're doing fine as a community. Everything is like barter and trade, and I'm looking at it like this: why live in a white America when we can just pick our asses up and move and have our own fucking island and go about our business?
Okay, well,
it would be a whole lot easier. It would be a whole lot simpler for people to pull these resources together and say, okay, fuck it, this is what we can do. We get people that's in agriculture, education, science, health, and everybody just pull their resources together and develop a community that way. We don't have to live in somebody else's shit, under somebody else's law.
Okay.
Because that's basically what we're doing anyway. Because even if you do buy a property, the white man's going to always figure out a loophole to fuck your shit up. Every time.
Eminent domain, right? Something like that they have or some shit like that. Okay.
They're always going to find a loophole.
Fair enough. I tell you what. I mean, you've been on Clay with us, but we have the brothers from the BIO that talk about nationhood and the things that they want to do. So, I mean, you bring up a valid point. So, Yarima, I'm going to have you address that statement right there. What's your thoughts on what the brother just said?
Well, I think it's valid, and I think he's right and exact. But one of the things, again, and now we go back to code. One of the reasons we can't be on code that keeps us off of code is that, first of all, we want everybody to get on board. It's not going to happen. If we're looking for 40, 50, 60 million black Americans to get on board, we're dead.
No.
We're dead just even thinking about that. So what he's talking about, you can do that with a small group. You can do that.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you something. Not to cut you off, brother. I would rather do that with 100. I would rather do that with 100,000 people than to deal with 50, 60 million idiots.
Right. And I totally agree. Like, you can do that with small, like-minded groups who are dedicated and just say, this is what we're going to do. Let's go make it happen. And I think that's viable. But you will have ones that will come in and say, well, hey, we got just as much right to this land as anybody else. You will have ones that come in and say, man, we're not from Africa. You got to remember, we're part of the Native American tribes here too. And there you start getting into the fragmentation right there, because everybody can't agree on one thing. And one of the premises of the code should just be, starting off, period, is that we need to agree that we're black and we're catching hell all over the world.
Yes.
If we can just start there. But I would be with that, brother, because we've talked about that. A group of us have talked about doing that here, and then I go back to, we got to go back to Move. How Move in Philadelphia was, they just got their thing just bombed off the whole neighborhood just bombed when they were just trying to live amongst themselves. So the brother's very valid. Because I'm gonna tell you something. They got.
Yeah, because I have been all over this world, man. And one thing I know, they got thousands of charted islands all over the place. They got islands in the Philippines. They got thousands of islands in the Philippines that can easily hold 20, 30,000 people, 100,000, 200,000 people if need be. And like I said, even if you start with a small community of people, that small community can grow into something great. We don't have to have everybody. I mean, you can. I mean, even if you get 30,000 people, man, from all fields, all walks of life, man, coming together and say, okay, you know what? Let's make this happen. All black coming together and say, okay, you know what? Let's make this happen. We can actually start a new Zion, a new utopia for ourselves. Fuck with this other shit. We can actually make an impact, because I'm not trying to make an impact on the whole African community anymore, because I'm going to tell you something. Our people, for some reason, don't want to get their shit together. But for the ones that do want to get their shit together, I'm happy with that number. I'm happy with that number. I'm trying to live in content.
I would want to ask this one question of you, though, brother. Now, when you say that, are you talking about, because we got to always remember the beasts, wherever they go, they rape, rob, and pillage. So when you say that, even with that small community, are you talking military in mind as well?
Yes, we gotta have
of course.
that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you gotta have military. You gotta have military and security. Oh yeah, definitely.
Got you. Okay, I'm with you on that.
Oh no, definitely. Oh no, we can't even have an infrastructure until we have a military.
But here's the thing. I just want to say this, and I because this is not that kind of show tonight, but I am a spiritual person. Because we are in a material world and we're dealing with the flesh, don't ever say utopia, because nothing will ever be perfect in the form that we're in. And I don't want to get metaphysical right now, because that night.
No, you're right. You're right, brother. You're right. You're absolutely right.
But because I deal for my personal spiritual practices, I deal with the occult. I deal with African spirituality. Okay, we're too flawed in this form to ever have a utopia. We can get even close to such a thing, but it'll never be quite that perfect. You understand what I'm saying? Because
exactly.
the flesh is not, but it's not perfect like that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to go too far off with this, but you get the concept I'm trying to say. So we can have something that's really nice, but it'll never be perfect. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the chick. It's kind of like a chick looking for that perfect man. Nah, baby, nah, that's not gonna happen. All right? Or that brother looking for a perfect woman. Nah, dude, she might, her big toe might be ugly. You know what I'm saying? But she can cook a mean meal. You understand what I'm saying? So let's forget perfect. We can have something that we can live with and live in peace. Yes. Yeah. But as long as we on this material plane, ain't nothing gonna be perfect. And I'm just putting it out there. All right. We won't have no lynching or nothing like that. But because of who we are, I may have a verbal dispute with Brother Yarima one day, but hopefully we're at the point where we can get past that, and I may see Brother Yarima tomorrow and say, you know what, let's have a cocktail or a drink tomorrow, because you know what, forget about that bullshit from last night, and we don't have to gun each other down in the street like mad dogs. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So, you know what I'm saying, but it ain't gonna ever be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Let's I just want to put that out there because we get caught up on that. We get caught up on some
But to answer that question about the brother talking about military force, we would just train all our people how to fight, because not for nothing, you want to have everybody that can fight. You don't want to have only a certain amount of number that can fight. You want to have everybody, because if something was to ever happen, the whole fucking village will have to jump in.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I got another
everybody.
Caller. I got another call I got to bring him as we're winding down. I got some questions, some closing questions. Got to ask the brother here. Caller from 3033. You're alive. 3033.
Hey, it's D. Craig from Texas.
Hey, D. Craig, how are you, sir?
What up, D. Craig?
Pretty good. Yeah, about that military. Yeah, you have to treat, everybody got to be like Israel. Everybody got to be in the draft. Everybody got to be military to do that.
Absolutely.
But as far as the empowerment, when you talk about the empowerment of the money, I think one thing we have to do as a community is really try their best to cut out tobacco, alcohol, and drugs. Because a lot of that stuff is in the dang communities. I mean, everybody can have wine once in a while if they want to, but don't, stuff like that. Whatever the companies are, whatever the let's get off that. I'm rambling. I'll be real quick. The one thing about you were talking about, I'm from Tulsa as well. And it's amazing when they're talking about the Black Wall Street. Black folks in Tulsa has never rioted on anything. They never created a riot. It was white folks rioting on us. I thought it was kind of interesting. We never started riots. Yeah.
Ain't that something?
Yeah. And as far as the wealth, when you go back to Levittown, the first suburb, the government wouldn't let black people own those properties. And, when you had all those suburbs that was creating up, popping all over the place after World War II, well, those housing is the best way of the quickest way of getting wealth in the United States. So a lot of those houses now worth like $400,000, $500,000 now that was passed on to generations, and black folks were left out of that. But the other thing is, I think, and like your person was talking about owning land, and I got to work on it myself, we need to educate the black people young on credit. If you get good credit, and you can get the business, I'll get on mute.
I was going to actually bring that up here because I know time flies when you're having fun, and every time I have this brother on, it flew last time and it's flying now. So here's something, Yarima. I was way into my adulthood before I figured out what was good debt and bad debt, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So one of the things
we all are on that one.
Exactly. One of the things we have to think about as a community, because there's always there's always a running joke in the black community that we all black males have bad credit. So what can we do to correct that trend? I mean, do you have any ideas, any advice for us to eliminate debt? I mean, one of the things you do, you say you don't spend no damn money in no malls, so that's perfect right there. That's a start. And I'm with you there because I practice that same thing. I don't spend no damn money in no mall. So, but what can we do to eliminate? This is for Brother Yarima. Hold on, Clay. What can we do, brother, to get rid of some of these issues that we have in our community, such as bad debt and frivolous spending and shit like that, brother?
Well, I think what I do. I can only talk for myself. What I do personally is I can't stand owing anything. So I get it out of the way right away. Even if I again sacrifice. Even if I have to sacrifice for a minute, I got an 800 credit score. So I did that by going to buy. I would buy stuff because remember I'm coming out of prison after almost 20 years. So I had to find ways to really build my credit quick. So I know my first credit card I got it, would buy small things, $30, pay it off right away, and bam, now the limit, I got my spending limit up. And so, but again, the premise, I don't spend a dime. One thing, and I would tell this for any young person or any older person, if you have more going out than you have coming in, you're in trouble. You're going to be in debt, and debt is a slave. It's just another form of slavery. So if you got more money going out than you have money coming in, that's why I don't spend a dime. I'm very frugal with money. I've always been frugal with money anyway. But because of the dynamics of the war that we're in, I would, and I've said it before, I would feel like a sucker giving my money to people that I know deep down in their heart hate me. So if you got more money going out than you have coming in, that's a problem. You're creating debt for yourself right there. And I would just keep it simple like that. Make sure you have more money coming in than you have going out. And then you have some investments. You got this. I'm really now looking into. I've never been a stock guy, but I'm really. I got a partner, and he's off. We're looking at this Bitcoin right now. And
yes, me too.
The reason,
brother, me too.
I'm looking at Bitcoin. The reason I'm looking at Bitcoin is because the government doesn't like it.
That's right.
Because the government can't control it, and so anything
they
that
can't
the
regulate
government doesn't like and can't control and regulate, that's what I'm looking at, because that means that we're on to something, because they want to control everything. See, unfortunately, what they have created is they have created a system to the point where economies, not just in the U.S., but economies around the world could potentially fail if the U.S. fails. That's how conniving these sharks are.
Yeah.
That's just how conniving they are. So now that they've created this, but we can do the same thing. That's the thing. Right. You get on code, you can do the same thing. Because now what the Asians and the Russians are saying is guess what? We'll bypass the U.S. We don't even have to deal with them. If they want to pass these sanctions and all of this, we're superpowers, so we'll just deal with one another. And I think you had Russia, Brazil, China,
Germany,
and Germany was on there. A couple of those countries were on there where they were like, you know what, we'll bypass the U.S. They want to play God all over the world.
Yes,
but
I heard that today. That's right.
Yeah, so other countries are starting to move out, and then they're starting to realize, you know what, they don't have any gold backing this money. The Federal Reserve is just printing money. They don't have anything to back it. So people are starting to pull their money out. They want their money back. Germany, they said, we want our money back, our stocks and our gold. And the U.S. is trying to say, well, wait, hold up. We got up to 7 years to give you. No, we want our shit back. And so people need to start looking at this Bitcoin, but people need to make sure, especially in this particular time right now, they have more money coming in than they have going out. And if they don't have enough money coming in, then they need to find a way to get more in by legal means. Because
exactly. Right. And that's what we're talking about. Right. I just want to say something.
You know what? I just want to say one quick thing, because I can't stay on long. I just want to say one thing, too, man. Another thing, too, man, to be funny, we have to start learning what white people learn. They read like a motherfucker. We got to read all these financial books just like they do.
Yes.
Fucking Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. We got to read. We got to pick up a fucking book. Because if we don't, we'll never get ahead, man.
Well, I mean, you
ain't
can't read
gotta go to college.
You
ain't got to go to college. You can pick up a fucking book and learn what these motherfuckers learn. Look at Bill Gates. Bill Gates didn't even finish college. And he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire.
Yep.
This is super important. But you can't read and twerk at the same time because it's impossible to hold the book still. So, I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. But, yeah, you're right. You're right, Clay. But here's something I do want to say on that, Brother Yarima. I just want to caveat on that real quick. That Bitcoin, let me tell you something. As we speak right now, I'm learning how to build my own mining rig for Bitcoin. So, not for nothing, for those that are listening to the show, do your due diligence and do some research on Bitcoin and possibly getting your own mining rig. You got a Bitcoin, you got Ethereum, and a couple other things that you can look into. But please look into that because that is an alternative that you can possibly create some passive income for yourself. So I'm glad you mentioned that, brother. It's profound that you mentioned that because I was thinking about Bitcoin for the last few weeks, and I was doing some research. I said, man, we can go ahead and get myself a mining rig and get down with this. Also, I don't have the name. I don't have the name of it, but there is actually a black community on Facebook. They have their own page, and they're all down with the Bitcoin movement. It's an all black page. I'll try to put it out on my personal Facebook page when I find it. But they about that Bitcoin. So and they put out a lot of good information on Bitcoin, and I'll send it to you as well, Brother Yarima. Yeah.
Please do. That's the other thing too is that and the Bitcoin right now is actually it has shot up. It's more than gold right now.
Yes.
It has been more than gold.
Yes, sir.
But there's a guy that I listen to. He's been calling good money. His name is Cliff High, and because all of this stuff deals with algorithms, and we have to start getting into algorithms too. As a matter of fact, we can create systems through algorithms because we have to, from a global standpoint, we have to start staying up with technology. I like what the brother said, reading what they read and also getting into the tech. And I'm not a tech-savvy guy, but our young people coming out of college, they are. So they need to start getting in tune with these algorithms. But Bitcoin is more than gold right now. It shot up. It went down just about a week ago. Yeah. But it didn't. It shot way up. And it went down a little. And Cliff High said that it's going to shoot back up, and it's going to shoot back up in a major way. So we want to be paying attention to that and getting into these algorithms and those sort of things, man, because we got to stay up. Otherwise, we'll get left behind. We'll become extinct like the dinosaurs.
Yeah, and you know what? That's possible. But, again, we have to learn to think and act like we are at war. And like you said earlier in the segment, Brother Yarima, about how the Russians did during World War II against the Germans, we have to put ourselves in that mindset. You know what? My aunt, God bless her, may she rest in peace, she used to say, black people have been finger popping and dancing through the streets for the last some odd years. All right? Yep. That time has passed, man. This is not business as usual. Please understand this. I'm not trying to make anybody depressed or whatever the case may be, but what we're dealing with right now is real.
Yes.
All right? That time has passed, man. We can't work our way out this shit. Somebody's got to be doing some thinking and some calculated moves and some calculated steps because they're playing chess and we're playing fucking checkers on a cheap board at that. We're not even playing on the real goddamn chessboard at that. It's a cardboard shit, but we can cut out our damn selves. All right, so let's get with the program. Honestly, we got a few more minutes. I'm gonna go ahead down the line here. Any questions for Brother Yarima? Cassandra, you've been mad quiet, my dear. Any questions for Brother Yarima as we get ready to wind this down tonight?
I just thank you again for just sharing all that with us, brother, because we need to hear this. So, I mean, I am so excited. I heard about these Bitcoins, too, recently from one of my colleagues in Denver, Colorado, up in some mountains that he lives in. You know what I'm talking about? And so he was telling me about this. He was telling me about this 2 years ago, and I thought he was crazy. So just to keep hearing about it and keep researching about it, that's really what's up. And so anyway, I just I don't have much to say. I've been listening tonight. I've been really soaking it in, and I appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We got my girl here, Leah. Any questions, comments, concerns for Brother Yarima as we get ready to wind this down?
No, I had a really good time tonight, and I appreciate all the information that came forth, and thanks. Just don't stop the show.
All right. D. Craig, any comments, concerns, questions, Brother Yarima as we got out of here?
No, just listen away. Carry on.
All right, and my man Clay Birch, the gentleman.
Only thing I gotta say is, brother, you gotta pass on that info about the Bitcoin. Cause like I said, we need to research that more.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
you know, with any of these, for those who are awakened and using third eye vision, that pineal gland, they're going to be in tune with certain things. And you said the key word research. You know, they said that the internet was a passing fad, that it wouldn't be here. It's here. They said, you know,
right.
when people came out with Apple Computer, when Microsoft came out, you know, had you invested in that?
Right.
Apple, just think had the people invested. So we got something new on the scene. I'm not saying invest. I'm just saying check it out and do the research. You know, but at the end of the day, also remember, Bitcoin, stock market, all of that shit is a gamble. All of it, you gambling. I mean, but we gambling with our lives. I'm gambling every time I go out at night and drive my car to the store because I'm a black man living in this beast. So I'm gambling with my life. But understand it's a gamble, and it's one you could be successful at, or it's one that you could lose something at. So, you know. Exactly.
Well, one thing, Yarima, that we were trying to do here on this broadcast, on this show, is we're trying to push and promote black businesses and get people to support black business. So, off the dome, if you got any black businesses that you support or you know that you want to shout out, man, please do so if you can, and we'll continue that going forward as well. Because one thing I peep you, brother. You be rocking these hats and these T-shirts, man, that are powerful. In fact, the one I want, brother, is that the one I'm a God in my hood. I'm feeling that joint, man. I was peeping that video just this morning, and I'm feeling that T-shirt right there. So, you know, stuff like that, man. That I know you get from people that create from the community, man. Yeah. So if you can promote stuff like that, you know, or like I said, man, please do
brother. So. Brother, when I got that I am a God in my hood, hey, when you wear that in certain circles, brother, be very careful because people be I know, people be having that look like I know he didn't. I'm like, yes, I did. But Twid, Carver's Had Not. I sport his gear, and Twid, it's TWID. It stands for That's What I Do. This brother's been in business. Him and his business partner. It's been in business since 2008, doing their thing. Okay. He's got a clothing line. As a matter of fact, Twid Gear, he makes football uniforms for a couple community colleges up in Texas as well. So he's got cleats. Okay. Yeah, he makes tennis shoes. I got some of his shoes.
Wow.
I got his shirts, his hats. Yep. So he makes a full clothing line. Also, Compass Gear out of Ivory Carter out of Fresno, California. You'll see me with the Compass hat on sometimes.
Yes, I have seen you with that.
Of course, I'll get the inboxes from all the Masons, like, are you standing on your 33, and that sort of thing. So these brothers are. I support these brothers because, they are businessmen. They're none of them are on the plantation. They're doing their thing. Off the plantation, making it their way. Also, I want to say this for the sister Aaliyah when she was talking about because I'm a big advocate of black women taking over the hair and nail market and makeup. That's $1 billion market that the Asians just came in and taken. We used to have locks on that, and I think it's unfortunate that as beautiful as black women are and as gifted as they are doing hair and nails, that our people are going to Asians. That kind of stuff makes no sense to me. So, we're talking about more than $1 billion industry. So we need that back. We need those in our community. And part of being on code, when we talk about being on code, part of being on code is and some people might find it ruthless. I don't find it ruthless at all. Part of being on code is saying, because the Chinese, their code is that you can spend money with them, but they won't spend money with you. That's their code. You can come in all day and spend money with them. That needs to be our code. Like, we have no problem with you having businesses in our community, but we're just not going to shop with you. Because if we went to China,
I agree. Can I just chime in for half a second, sir? I'm sorry.
Yep.
I just cut you off. But I just wanted to say one thing. One of the things that my daughter did, and I was really proud of her for this. At first, it didn't make sense to me. I said, I don't like some of your charges. Your price list is not right. And she said, Mom, I set the prices for those who are able to afford. Okay, this for those that I have to, accommodate my customers, because it's not just about the money; it's also about caring. And I was on Facebook a few minutes ago, and I think she said that she would love to be able to accept more than 5,000 friends or whatever, but now she would need for them to move on to another page. And I thought, wow. It's like that. And I had one question for you. I know we press for time. Do you, because I may have missed it,
overtime right now.
Will you go out and do seminars? Like we'll go out and speak, because she hosts what they call a Black Expo every year in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she invites African American businesses to come out and set up information tables and whatnot. And it's really something to see.
Yes, I
so if I
do.
can give you information, if you could inbox it to me,
absolutely.
I just want to say this real quick. We are actually in overtime, so just real quick, Rima, I'll let you address that, and then we got to shut it down, because actually we are on the dark side of the moon right now on this one. So, Rima, I'll give you this, and then and we're going to go ahead and close out. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Queen, I get booked all the time for speaking engagements, so I'll just leave some of my links for those that would like to connect with me. I never say follow. I always like to use the word connect, because you might follow somebody into a ditch, but if you connect with them doesn't necessarily mean you'll follow them there. So connect with me on my webpage, www.yarimakarama.com/intro. You can go there to check out my bio. Also, you can book me for speaking engagements, performance poetry and hip-hop, blogs, updates. You can go there for a multitude of things. It's actually a dope site. Also, you can inbox me at Yarima Karama at musician.org, and that's YARIMAKARAMA at musician.org. And we can talk from there. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Black Junction, More Us, Periscope, YouTube, all of that. I usually stream on Periscope and YouTube just about every day. I didn't today because I knew I was going to be on your show, and so. Let's connect. As a matter of fact, the Queen mentioned Tulsa. We've had 3 Unity Walks in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So. We have unity walks around the country. That's one of the things that I do. I have coordinators that have them, and the unity walk is just about bringing us together as a group of people, finding spaces for us to come together and talk, connect. If you're looking for large audiences to come out, You probably want to go to a Nicki Minaj concert, but if you're looking for conscious, aware people to come out, the numbers are going to be slim, but it will grow, and it's growing. So.
Right. Exactly.
And
I just want to say this.
Brother.
Yes, Brother Yarima, thank you so much, brother. You're always welcome, by the way. You don't need an invite, brother. You're a friend of the show, so if you feel like on a Tuesday night you're slumming, come ahead and you can crash over here, brother. You know what I'm saying? And chop it up with us. Not for nothing, I also want to give a shout out to the chat. We had a Mr. Nero and Pianki in the chat talking about Bitcoin. I'm sorry I didn't read your comments on air every time. Just got away from us. But Cassandra, Leah, and D. Craig, thank you so much. And Brother Yarima, once again, man, always a pleasure to have you on. And you know I'm going to have you back anyway in an official capacity anyway. So, but just always a very powerful, positive, constructive conversation. And we appreciate you, brother, man. And that's all I have, y'all. And like I said, we're out of time officially. So I just want to say peace out, everybody. Good night. Be safe. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. That's all I can tell you. All right? And act accordingly. And that's all I got, guys. Everybody, good night. Peace out.
Peace.
Night.
Hitting up the Hamptons or the Jersey Shore this summer? Don't waste tanning time at the store. Let Fresh Direct bring you everything you need for a delicious summer. Just picked fruit and vegetables, custom cut meat and seafood, and all your favorite snacks and drinks. You can even order from the beach and be done before the next song's over. Use code MUSIC to get $25 off your next order of $99 or more. Visit freshdirect.com or download the app today. Hitting up the Hamptons or the Jersey Shore this summer? Don't waste tanning time at the store. Let Fresh Direct bring you everything you need for a delicious summer. Just picked fruit and vegetables, custom cut meat and seafood, and all your favorite snacks and drinks. You can even order from the beach and be done before the next song's over. Use code MUSIC to get $25 off your next order of $99 or more. Visit freshdirect.com or download the app today.